Angry? I'd say I'm angry. I'd say I'm verging on furious. I spent 3 days making space for this trip with hard work, windy weather. I thought I'll get the work in. I come down, I'm on the shingle bank, I've got everything I need, I'm ready for a whole night session into the dark. First cast out. Have you ever done this, guys? First cast out. Even did a practice cast. I even did a practice cast. Bait up, beautiful, beautiful, magnificent elasticated bait. Yeah, right, crack off. Crack off. Oh, it's funny. You think it's funny? It's not funny. It makes me livid. I've lost a really good 7-ounce lead. Plain bomb. I thought I'd get a nice bomb. High tide here, as you can see, guys. It is high tide. So I've had to re-rig everything. Lost a good pulley rig. Man, what a start. I mean, I imagine you guys have had it as well. Today, the afternoon is 5 PM in the afternoon. It's about high water. I don't know what you're going to get. The wind has been howling from the west for nearly 5 days. I've been waiting and waiting for it to go off the land, which is north. It's got a bit of northwest in it. It's still blowing, which is a bit annoying. But I've dropped down below this shingle bank here. You can see, look at the people over there. You can see there's a big shingle bank drop here. Over there is a famous place called the Needles. For those who live in a different country, that's called the Isle of Wight. It is obviously an island. Anyway, I managed to get my rods out after much furious trepidations, shingle punching and everything else. So I've got one fillet of mackerel out there, whipped on. I've got just 3 small hooks on like flappers, but I've put some little flashes on there, being daytime. You never know, it could be, it's not totally clear, the water, but it's fairly clear. And I've got sand eels out there as well. I'm hoping to go into the dark. I don't expect to catch anything, well, at all. Why are you there then, Graeme? Well, I just like standing in the sun and lugging 80 pounds of equipment, the cameras and rods about 400 yards, and then staying in the cold overnight. There's other anglers fishing down here, both sides of me. I think some of them mackerel fishing, some of them bottom fishing on the bottom. The tide is going to come up, it's going to go down at 11 o'clock, it's going to be low. I've been told this place fishes best when it is on an ebbing tide. I've no idea of the size of the tide. There's another angler walking up here now, coming along. These guys obviously come mostly looking for mackerel. They're looking for mackerel over the high water. I think it's a tad early, it must have been a few caught, that's why these people are coming down. I'm down here with all my junk, all my clobber. 2 journeys to the car, 2 journeys. But listen, I've had my rant over losing that beautiful set of gear, but just look at my office tonight. Is that not peachy? That is absolutely worth coming down for. I think it's going to be an absolute headbanger of a sunset. I'm guessing it's going to go down over here somewhere, that way. I'm not sure, because I don't know where west is, doesn't it really? But listen, got a few tricks up my sleeve. I'm just going to basically bait soak for as long as I can. I'm going to stay into the dark definitely, which will be nearly midnight. Whether I stay all night is another thing. I'm going to put my little camp up, try and get out of this wind. It's not a cold wind, but it's just a little bit annoying. And sit down, chill and listen to the beautiful relaxing sound of the ASMR of the ocean. And one thing I can assure you I have done after all the grief and aggravation I've had from my customers, clients, whatever you want to call them I do business with during the week, forget it, guys, you won't get me. I've turned the phone off. There comes a time when you actually, you know, you have to relax. You have to turn the phone off. It's a fucking nightmare. Times I've gone fishing, I'm not joking, I've had the crack off. That's sort of almost amusing, really. I just bait up, I throw out, I get the second rod, and the phone goes. You think, don't look at it. Do not look at it, Graeme. Do not look at it. It's going to be grief and aggravation. Better just check in case it's grief and aggravation. Now, here's the grief and aggravation. This is the only worry I want. Are those rod tops going to nod? That's all I want to know for the next 10 or 12 hours. If the weather stays like this, to be honest, I'm not going to be too upset. I'll tell you what I did notice when I first rocked up here. I walked about 3 markers down, as we say. Wasn't going to walk miles. You can go like literally a mile down the end of the shingle if you want. There's no way that's happening. I don't care how good the fishing is. I'm not going to traipse all down there. On 2 journeys, that'd be 4 miles. But it was very nice and flat here, and I thought there's a nice area for me to make base camp if we're going to stay at night. And then I'm looking, thinking, very clean down there, it's very clean down here. When you look on the gravel over there, hopefully you'll be able to see lots of weed. Now generally, if there's a line of weed along the beach, it's been pushed up by the tide. But this has been pulled off by other anglers, off their lines, off their hooks. So I've got a sort of a bad feeling that there might actually be quite a bit of weed out there at a certain stage of tide. Listen, fingers crossed at the moment, hopefully nothing. It now looks like it's ebbing. Can't work it out, guys, with the watch and the times. Shouldn't be ebbing this hard, but it's cranked to the right quite hard. I'm hoping I'm not going to lose my gear. I might have to come in and just cast closer in. When there's a strong tide, just drop it a little bit shorter. I'm on grip leads as well, but another point I've got down there, there's a bit of a swirl. As each wave goes back, and when the tide drops, I've got a feeling there's something down, there's a slab of concrete, or there's something, or I don't think there's a rock under the water, there's definitely something concrete down there. Gonna have to watch when I bring anything in, my end gear, my end tackle, I don't get snagged in that as well. So I've got the weed possibilities here, won't know till I wind in, and I've got the possibility of some sort of snag around a swirl down there, so who knows. But the lines now are really pulling to the right, so I guess that ebb has set in. Well, you know, sometimes it's nice to be right, and sometimes it's sort of not nice to be right. Well, I certainly got that one right, guys, didn't I? Look, there we go. I thought there was all weed that had been stripped off by anglers down here, and I was indeed correct. I've already had enough to fill a washing basket, so perhaps that's why nobody else is fishing here. The bait is pretty well untouched. I think I'm going to send that out again. A little bit of chew on that one. Not a huge amount of weed, and I'm still... Oh, hang on a minute though, people. That hook there, I'm trying to keep out the wind for you, that hook there has been stripped. That gives me a chance to show you what I'm actually using. Okay, I didn't bother buying any worms. I've got some frozen sandals left over. But the rig I'm using at the moment is a plain bomb, which is barely holding out there. A 3-hook sort of flapper rig I've made up, but I've got little spoons and a bit of bead here, little sequin there. Hopefully you can see this, guys, just a sequin, a bead and a blade there to spin. Now there's quite a bit of current here, it might spin, but it's visual. It's a little bit of flash, a little bit of movement in the water, so I'm thinking there might be a bit of attraction in that. Now obviously that's useless in the daylight, in the night time, but in the daylight it might just swing the odds in your favour. And I need basically all the odds I can get. I'm just threading a small sand eel around the shank of the hook, up over there, and it's going to lay like that. Hopefully you can see that, just there. Same with this one. It's got that bunch of sequins on there, just a little bit of bling. It doesn't hurt, does it? But I'll tell you what I'm banking on. I'm banking on, or I didn't buy worms. I thought, I'm sure if I can catch some pouting, I'm going to send a pouting or pouting fillet out. I think they might want fresh bait. So that's what I've got there. You can see that. Nice sander and a little flash from that sequin. Let's get that back out there. Plenty weed, boys, plenty weed. I'll drop it. Woo, it's loud. Just going to lob it up there and hopefully the tide will pull it round. It's the theory. I don't want to go too far. Maybe, I don't know, 40 yards, 30 yards. And just see what's about on the inside. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, that's my shotgun holder there. You can see I'm having great fun with all this weed stripping. I don't really fancy a complete night session through the dark, stripping this weed off all night long. Please, let's hope there's going to be a break in it. I'm just about getting away with this. I think it's a 5-ounce bomb, but I'm just lobbing it. I'm not going far. I'm going to put a whole sanding on here and put a bit of thread on it as well. The thing with fishing is you just don't. We all live in hope, don't we? In the hope that, you know, the rod's going to go round, something's going to grab the bait. And to be honest, here in the UK, in the daytime, it's pretty grim. I'm banking on the dark bringing something out, some fish, even if it's something like pouting, just because other predators will be eating those pouting. Now this way, guys, look, watch, a double on there, but I'm going to elasticate that on. Let's get my thread. I'm hoping you can hear this because the wind is whistling off my back. Binding that around and around just to make it a little bit harder, because obviously now, sort of summertime, the crabs are about in abundance and they will soon chew these baits down. There we go, 1/2 inch to finish, snap off, and that's a double sand eel bait there, ready to go out, clipped up. In fact, do you know what, I don't even need to clip this down because I'm not going to be casting far. With that weed out there, with the weed, the farther you cast, the more weed you're going to put up the line. That's the problem. I'm just going to give it a back-handed lob. You never know what fish are going past close to shore. We're all infatuated with casting as far as we can, and a lot of the time the fish are inside of where you're casting. Along the edge here, along this gully where all the turbulence is, you know, stirring any food up that's along here. You can put some small hooks down as well. Now, those rods have already pulled round, so I know I've got to the end of my plain bomb stage. I'm going to have to use grips. I've got grips on one, and that's this one. It's a fixed grip one. I'm going to have to start, now that tide's really pulling, really ebbing. What I've got is a fixed grip one here, look, soft brass wires, they just pull straight, they don't flick free. I'm just going to use that, use it or lose it, that's the saying. Okay, going to cut about there on this squid. Hopefully you're going to see this, guys. Still chilled, luckily. Then in once, pull the hook through before I turn. I'm going to stitch it up. There's nothing like a stitch up. In and out like this 3 or 4 times, and then I go in, leaving the hook point showing, pull all those threads tight, gradually ease the hook down there, and yes, you're right, if I ever find out where I put it, the times I put my thread down. Found it. They ought to make orange thread just so that I can find it. Going to bind this on. Now again, if I was distance casting, it's just like par for the course this. That's what you do. I'm doing it more to compact the bait and make it last a little bit longer with the crabs chewing on it. And they will. So I'm going for the bigger baits now. The tide's running. The sun is actually, well, it's dropping a little bit, not much, here in the summer. Actually on what we call Midsummer's Day, the summer solstice. Solstice. Didn't even bring any alcohol with me. It's the longest. It's the 21st? You must be thirsty. The 21st of June, which is the shortest night. I thought it'd be good fun to come out. probably going to wish I hadn't with all this weed. So I've got my little short trace pulley rig. Going to clip in there. See, it's clipped up there, guys. Nice and neatly clipped up. I lob it out. I'm not going to lob it out too far. Now these are dragged right round. Look, I cast them up towards the needles. They drag right here. The idea being they shouldn't pick up so much weed. I'm just going to lob it. Some big fish come close to shore. Bosh. That tide is a ripping. So hit the bottom. Undo the drag a tad. Rotate these holders like this, so one is clear from the other. In we go. Put your rod butt in the cup there and in the crook here. Make sure that drags. So what happens is the grip pulls in like this, okay? Then there's a belly of line where the tide's pushing against it. What happens is the weed's going down tide and the grips have pulled in this way and the line's coming up. So the weed goes up that line, up that line, up that line, pulling more and more on the rod top until there's a big belly. And in the apex of that belly, eventually it's going to drag your lead out. So when you pull first, it winds freely because the lead is coming up, the line's coming up through that ball of weed here. And then suddenly the grip leg comes out and it goes solid. You think you're in a snag, try and keep the weed moving in a big ball and walk it back up the beach slowly, get hold of your shock leader, pull it up and pull the weed off. And I'm sure there's more weed coming. Well, it's now 10 past 8. Some people have left down the bottom, other guys have turned up. Have I had any bites? He said, have I caught any fish? I said, no. It is a ton of weed, and trust me, I got it right. Excuse me. There is indeed a ton of weed. He's raking it in now. He's got enough to start a farmyard down there. I've actually cast just down here to get away from it. So it could be a whole 24-hour tide cycle of weed. It could be a whole week. It could be a whole month. It's horrific weed we get on the south coast. But there could be a 1 hour slot when it sinks to the bottom with a change of tide. So it's virtually unfishable. Just look, guys, what I've just pulled up. That line there was on one rod that I had to walk backwards that whole lot. So patently obvious, and another heap over there. Patently obvious is absolutely total waste of time. It's a fabulous evening. Very windy. I'm below this bank. I've put up the monkey house, the old shack, got the old shack, the old house at home. I've got a ton of shingle there that I've put over the flaps that lay down there. That's an advert, don't look at that, it wasn't free. Well, it was, somebody actually owed me some money and gave it to me. Got it all shingled up there. Right where I'm going to put that, and of course high water is not going to come over here tomorrow morning, one hopes. But I figure the only chance I've got, the only chance I'm going to do, look, here's home guys. I'm starting to set up in comfort because I feel I've got a little crack. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. So this is what I'm looking at. Turn it around, and as you can see, that's my view there. See my rods, I can see the Isle of Wight, see the needles. Fabulous, fabulous evening. It's probably going to be dark for about 5.5 hours, 6 hours tonight. It's the shortest night of the year, the 21st of June. I thought it might be lucky, but apparently not. It's not going to be lucky by the look of things, unless I go for the world record haul of weed. So what I've done, I've just lobbed those baits down. It's, honest to God, it's a total waste of time. I've told the other guy up there it would be weed city, and it is. So how long this weed will last, I don't know. I figured now's the time to fire up the cooker, get something in my tum, and my aim is to fish into the dark, through the dark. If I've not gotten any fish, do you know what, I think, and this is rare for me, I think I'm just going to wind in, leave the rods in a holder. I've got a bedroll here as well. Well, it's not a bedroll, it's just a sort of inflatable mat thing. I bought it just in the off chance. And I've got a buzzer system that I'll show you after I've had my my little cook up. So that if I did want to leave rods out, pointless now with the weed, I've got a buzzer alarm that I've adapted. I call it Plan B, I've done Plan A before. But this one might work even better. Anyway, let's get the cooker on. I've got to say, that is some view from the office. The only thing is missing, that's right, are bites from the fish. Now these things I purchased on the way down. and I should be making a phone call to my cardiologist, say book me in for Monday or Tuesday because I'm on my 14th vanilla filled, ice cream filled donut. However, bad for you. I'm going to put them in a corner, do not touch. Got a nice little cooker here. I've actually bought a spare burner. These little burners are good. We're not selling them, as you know, we're just telling you. But years ago we had the old Primus things. I think they're called camping gas or something. Camping gas. I think they were French, I'm not sure. These ones are pretty good. I've got a luxury meal of beef ravioli I'm going to have tonight, gentlemen. I put the advert, sorry, of beef ravioli there. Make sure you get ring pulls. I think most tins are now ring pulls. Do not leave your rubbish on the beach. Put it somewhere in a piece of plastic bag, take it home. In goes this lovely, lovely ravioli. I got this and I got spaghetti bolognese for breakfast. Wait for this because it's pasta. Pasta is, it's got plenty of oomph in it. It's got a long burn, so it'll keep me going through the hours of darkness. A little tip I do with a lid, you don't want to cut yourself. When I put it in there, just oval, make it oval like that. Drop it in, squeeze it back to circular. Just put it out the way for now. And of course, the hunt for the lighter. I always put a little small lighter. This has a self spark, but half the time it doesn't light. A little lighter like this. Away we go. Now these burn very hot, so you won't want it on full power because they'll be cremated ravioli. And that will heat up quickly anyway for sure. I bought a spare bottle with me. Return the lighter to its designated place. Close to the bait thread. Man, it's absolute, look at this people. There's people having parties or something down there on the beach. 4 or 5 of those anglers have gone home, they've been weeded out. The guy up here came up all keen, I feel he's going to be weeded out. My gut feeling is 4 guys went way down the edge of the castle. That's obviously a better fishing spot, but who knows tonight, it could be the night of the weed. Oh dear, I actually find it quite sad, you know. From when I was a kid, the shore fishing, there was much more species around to catch. I'm not saying they were bigger. I think the specialist anglers now probably do catch bigger fish than we caught years ago. But the average beach angler had much more of a chance of catching fish, if that makes sense. Somebody came with a noisy outball. Do you know, everywhere we go, there's somebody with a strimmer, a chainsaw, a motorbike. Shove off, pal, and give us some peace and quiet. I've got a boat as well. Sad. My boat's not noisy like that though. Anyway, the ravioli is well on its way to dissolving into a soup. I told you those are hot. Just got to keep moving, otherwise the meat inside the ravioli doesn't get cooked. The outside gets warm and the meat's cold inside. So I've got it turned down low. Yeah, it's a shame because years ago there were far more beach anglers than there are now, and everybody caught something. That's what I'm trying to say. Everybody caught something, the occasional good fish. Now it seems there's specialist anglers, a few of them. They fish mostly at night. They do a lot of blanks, a lot of fishing, but of course they throw out the odd big fish. That's the one you see on Facebook. That's the ones you read about in the fishing press. If you walk along a beach and ask the average guys what they're catching, I'm going to tell you now, most of them are catching either nothing or scratching out bits and pieces, the odd pouting, bits and bobs, rockling, a few dabs, flounders. So it's a big deterioration in my lifetime, certainly, of shore fishing. And the last year has been a shocker. There's only one thing to do. Celebrate with some scalding hot ravioli. Guy down there's all his enthusiasm was just burned out. He's done about 4 casts. He's had about 4 wind-ins and he's had about 4 tons of weed. I mean, that's how it gets you. You've got to hand it to the beach anglers of Britain. They're certainly persistent, if nothing else. Fork. I say don't cook with aluminium, don't eat out of aluminium. So I bought myself a plastic bowl. Looks like Jax's dog bowl actually. It may well be. Yes, plenty of that ravioli stuck to the bottom of the pan, guys. Oh, you gotta love it, haven't you? Do you know what I should do? I should throw this one away and eat the saucepan. I told you it was hot, that propane-y stuff. Not wasting anything. This is survival fishing, pal. If I've got to go through the night, I'm going to determine to stay awake, especially once that old sun goes down. Look at that. You couldn't ask for more. Well, you couldn't really, could you? I'm going to force you to watch me get the first forkful. Things I do. You know what? I thought my boat fishing trips were trauma enough for me. At least I catch a few fish. My shore fishing trips this year, in 2018, the last winter and the spring, have been truly shocking. I would say I've had more blanks, other than scratching the odd fish out, but proper what I call blanks. I've had more blanks than I've ever had that I can ever remember in 50 years of fishing, and that's the truth. I heard it from a lot of guys this winter. The fishing has been horrendous. Whether everything's running late, we keep saying this, but hang on, we're halfway through the English summer. How much later do we have to leave it? Now the guy down there, he's getting to the phase now where the disinterest is creeping in. So what you do, and we've all done it, I've done it myself, you just sit there, you either look for different size stones, or you pick up stones and start throwing them towards other ones, or have a little game playing knock over the seaweed or hit the tin can. And he's getting to the stone. I've done the stone throwing about an hour and a half ago. He's at the stone throwing boredom stage now. I got through that. I'm waiting for darkness. Or scalded tonsils. Right people, the dinner has been done. Second course was a packet of crisps, and third course was half of some fruit cake. So it's a bit of a mixture, but it'll get me through the night hopefully, and I've got a couple of sandwiches left. I've got a buzzer bar that I've put onto the tripod there, and I just want to see if it works, and what I'm going to do is show you how I put it on. I did make a bar up. Maybe you guys watched some of our previous beach films. We'll see that I put a bar with some nuts and drilled of this and did that. And I laid in bed like you do fishing at night as well. I was laying in bed and I thought, you idiot Graeme, why do I not just take my freshwater bar and tape that to the tripod? Man, it could be the way home for me. So I can then put these beepers on, because if I'm filming or messing around, bearing in mind I'm not just looking at rods like most people, like this. No, I've got other jobs to do, otherwise you guys would have no films. So consequently, by looking away, I missed quite a lot of bites. Not today though. So I thought, if I could have a couple of beepers, a couple of buzzers, freshwater carp style buzzers, disease is coming to beach fishing as well now, it could just give me a couple of beeps. If I'm down here, I'm filming, oh, beep beep, oh, bite, you know, just to get me the extra second or two. So I'll show you how I've got these fixed up. Okay, well you can see actually the sun is going down. I did say it would be a headbanger of a sunset, and it will be. I want to get this done while it's still light enough to show you. So here are the normal cups, okay? You should be able to see those there, normal cups that you rest your rod in. I've taped, using electrical stretch tape, I call it stretch tape, my ordinary buzzer bar, which ordinarily, look, there's the thread, would screw into my bank stick. But I've taped it here and here, so it's rigid. Now then, if I put nice and tight and screw in my carp buzzers into this, look guys, it's another experiment. It's another totally awesome experiment. It might work, it might not. Now try this one. These do have, like, I'll put it that way so you don't see the sun. It has like an adjusting nut there, but we're going to try this. Put the batteries in. Just something different. Now that one's good. I don't want to crack it, I want to get it dead to us tight. So all I do now, in there, let's say a little pulley here, you might be able to see the line runs across that. So you can see from here, that line's going to run across it. Now I've got to go bend down to switch it on, that one. Then I've got tone and volume. That's pretty loud, isn't it? I can hear that. Listen. Look how sensitive that is, guys. Look at the rod top. Here's a whiting, look. Give you a audible alarm, and it gives you a purple light here, which I probably could see from over in my little camp in there. So that will definitely do for smooth hounds as well. But I thought of something else for slack line bites, because somebody would say, what happens if you get a slack line on? When you get a big ray or a smooth hound, sometimes they do slack line you. Let's set the other one up first. Switch it on with the power button. Volume. I say fairly sure the guy down the other end of the beach is going to hear that. Just going to put the line over it. Hopefully you can see this. Look. That's in case a big fish grabs it. Look, I barely moved that spool. Watch this. And if I put my microphone there, hopefully you'll be able to hear it. There's the spool. I'm turning the spool. If you can see up there the rod top, let's say you had a small bite. Man, that does a beat before I even get a registration if I can touch the line. Doesn't even move the rod top. That's how sensitive it is. Boys, I'm going to leave those like that because I'm quite impressed with myself. All I need is a fish or some bites to see if it does work. Even if you don't hear the beeps, you're going to see that purple light in the night. Now, I've got a piece of elasticated thread. I've just snapped it off. This is just my idea. You guys think about this. I have never done this, but if you have a slack line bite, the line is slack here, it might not register on the beeper. But if I had, let's say, some form of clip or attachment here, I'm just using a piece of elasticated bait elastic here just to show you what could happen. Maybe, look, if I tied this up here, forget the beeps I'm getting at the moment, I'm just going to fix it in some way. Now you could have a clip to this if that makes sense. I'm just going to tie it. I'm just tying it just to God, this beeper drove you up the wall, wouldn't it? Right, so a bite going forwards, a bite going normal way, pulling this way, look, it's going to pull up there. And then, should you get a slack liner and the line comes down here, I wonder if I open the bail arm, it should beep. There you are. So the slack liner will give you 2 beeps there. What you need to do is to get, you just adjust that. Hopefully you can see this. Look, see this? You'd have to adjust that angle somehow down lower so it's pulling at this angle. So if I open the bail arm, let's say this is a slack line bite, the fish has dislodged the lead. Ready? There it does, it will beep down, it pulls down. It can't pull down because obviously the grip lead's holding it tight. You see the principle of it though. So it's just a lot to be thinking about here. I probably won't sleep tonight now. Lay about thinking all these ways. Just going to wind this up for you again. So you guys out there, try and think of a way of a drop back, because you have it with carp fishing. You can get a bite going obviously the normal way, or you can have a drop back there. Now you can see how I've done it here. I've done the cotton all the way, the bait thread, bait elastic all the way up to here. But you need to have that angle with a little clip there. So should that grip leg go loose, look, watch, you get the bite coming backwards as well. Just an idea. Anyway, you guys think about it. I'm only interested in the ones that go that way at the moment. Guys, you're going to love this. Look, one finger watch. If anything breathes on that, I'm going to know about it. it is getting dark now, guys, at nearly 10:30. If I put the lights out, it would be, I can still see the rod tops silhouetted against the sky. But cold, man, it's cold. Do you know, one of the coldest times I've ever been was when I was shark fishing down at Bude in Cornwall, when we went Paul Biggle shark fishing in June, and I tented and I didn't put a ground sheet down. Man, I had a shocking sleep. Well, I didn't sleep really. Absolutely shaking and shivering, and that was the end of June. Kettle's on, as you can see. Gonna have a brew. Got to get warmed up. Let's hope. There we go. Oh, music to my ears, that steam. I've got the milk, got the tea bags. Got to have a warm up, and hopefully got some chocolate biscuits as well. No. Look, I put everything in these little clicky boxes. Even, watch this, sugar. Some goes in the cup as well. They're all sealed up. Get them for those pound shops. Look, the milk sealed up in there as well. Yes, obviously you have to use it because, in fact, I'll put the water in first. Otherwise, if you don't, it'll go off in hot weather. I mean, pretty well used a flask cup, but you can't really a proper cup. You can't beat a proper cuppa, can you really? I've got the alarms. They haven't beeped. They haven't done anything. It should have bites now. It's bizarre. I'm looking up and down the beach with my zoom lens. I can just go so far. It's ridiculous. 304, 500 yards. Hasn't been a fish caught. Has not been a fish caught. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 that I can see. So they got 2 rods. There's 14 rods for no fish. So I don't feel too bad. Yeah. And these shelters are really good, especially at my age. Don't get many old age pensioners doing all-night sessions, do you, on the beach, lugging gear. Two runs from the car, 400 or 500 yards down the beach. Not many of us left out there at my age. I would sooner have a pint of Murphy's, I have to say, but cheers, guys. Oh, here comes some cholesterol in the shape of custard-filled donuts. Lovely jubbly. Actually got some custard in them this time. Well, people, it is. I will take a brief look at my watch, very brief. I wish I hadn't. I really wish I hadn't looked at my watch. It's 2:15 in the morning. That's what we call middle of the night. It's as black as your hat. It's a beautiful star constellations out there. I've got my little eco light going. Down here I've got my floodlight, which I just put on just to do this little bit of chit chat to the camera because I'm getting tired now. I'm getting tired from, I've had another crack off to do with the knot and the butt ring from my shock leader. I might have had one ray bite. There is so much weed coming through now. There is not one angler on an entire strip of beach. I'm the last guy here. Well, I think I would be, wouldn't I? Sort of 2:15 at night. So, really disappointing. All I want to do is try and catch something decent for you guys to show people you can actually catch some halfway decent fish off our beaches, but I fear I'm struggling big time. Just want to get something like a nice ray. The mosquitoes are about. Lovely, lovely. I hadn't banked on those, the mosquitoes and the sandflies. Man, it's a tough one. Beach fishing is really rock hard. So, I've got my little bed roll out now. Put some air in it because the worst thing you can do at night, guys, is to lay on a shingle beach because the ground will suck the lifeblood out of you. It will suck the temperature out. You will get extremely cold. So I've partially inflated it. I just wouldn't mind an hour's sleep. I've still got 2 rods out. Don't worry. You won't see it with this lens. I've got 2 out, but I've now put the spinning rod away because I'm getting so much weed. It is just ridiculous. That's why the other anglers, I guess, have gone home. No fish and no weed. I sort of don't mind no fish, if at least I'm fishing properly, but the tide is ripping through, dragging all the weed through, building up on my line, and it's breaking out. the grip leads. I mean, I'm getting occasional beeps on there, but I've sort of laid down here for like 10 or 15 minutes. I'm amazed that my rods haven't gone out. The rest is that much weed out there. They're loaded up now, and I really don't want to go out there. I'm piling through whole squid baits. I'm doing the best I can. It's not happening. Even my little batteries on my light here are going a little bit. I might have to have another brew. 2:15 in the morning. It's a bit late having a brew, isn't it? But, or is it early? But listen, it's going to be coming up dawn. It's really cold. I've actually put the covers around here. I've tried to bring these covers in now over my feet because I was getting really cold. I don't need any visual aspect. I don't need to see the rod tops. I can hear with those beepers. So I've got my bite indicators. They are definitely, I feel, the way forward. If you want to at least shut your eyes, maybe get your head down a little bit, because you can hear them full volume even over the surf coming in. Anyway, I fear I might have to call in the no, not the fire brigade, the assistance of other anglers. I've got a couple of phone calls I can make. Maybe if I went about 50 miles down the other way, I might get rid of this weed. The weeds crucify me here big time. So I'll let you know in the morning what I'm going to do. I think one more cast and I'm done. Okay guys, I think put the kettle on, try and grab an hour's sleep. Yes folks, this is what I've had for 12 hours. If I took any more weed out of the sea, they'd think I was a commercial farmer. It is just horrendous. I'm telling you, it's the worst weed. I haven't had a bite. I have not had a bite. Do you know what? Nothing can get to the bait. There's the bait. Untouched. A nice big squid there. Pennel hook. Anything like a ray should take that. But of course it's, look at it. It's covered. It's absolutely covered. I'd say it's a PB, folks. As tired as I am after an all-night session. It's a PB. It's the worst weed I've ever had, ever in my life off the shore. I should have packed up. It's not gone away this morning. So I'm going to call it quits. The only bonus, the only upside was I found, just on that bunch of weed there, somebody else's rig. I've lost 2 rigs, I've got 1 back. I haven't even broken even yet. A nice impact lead, brand new rig, and I know it's one of the guys lost it last night, because there, look, is a piece of mackerel left over. The crabs would have had that off long time ago. So somebody else has had a bit of a shocker last night as well. It's the worst one I've had, probably one of my worst beach sessions actually. All I'm doing is just tossing it in, I don't know, 20-30 yards now. Any distance, the tide's ripping it around, the weed's dragging it out. So I'm going to make a few phone calls. Thanks for watching this session. So I'm going to make a few phone calls. Thanks for watching this session of the Totally Awesome Show. Not too awesome, was it, today? But listen, I tell it as it is, guys. You know that. If there's a blank, there is a blank. And I've definitely got one at the moment. I don't think I'm going to salvage anything from this one. I'm going to try and go 50 miles, at least east, trying to get away from this awful weed and see if I can't at least get a film and show you guys a couple of fish. A nice ray, that's all we want, just 1 ray. I'm not asking for 10, 1. Oh well, let's start packing up. Anybody looking to get their personal best of weed catch, Shingle Bank is the place for you. Well, that's right people, I am back on the beach again. It's what they call having a monkey on your back. I just can't seem to come to terms with this beach. But I'm back again. I'm going to take some more blows to the chin, I dare say, and some legs lost in the water. But this time, the odds are different. They've got to be stacked in my favour, because this time I've got two local experts fishing with me who want to show us the stamp of fish they can catch. And, well, I want to say better still, be careful what I say, I don't want to upset the locals. Tony Kirrage is coming all the way from Eastbourne. He's going to give it a go as well. He's heard there's some good fish here. They all know each other, I think. Down here, Tony McDonald. And down the other end, there's another guy. I'm going to find his name out from Tony up there. Tony Kirrage, as usual, is late, has not turned up yet. But we spaced out on these groins here. The tide is flooding in, and fingers crossed we get to catch, well, at least something. So, I haven't got two big rods. I've got one big rod here. I've got like 7 ounces on that one. Grip lead. This one I got out for bream. It's a silly rig, small hooks, 3 hooks, and little strips of squid. So listen, it's whatever, they can catch bream here. Last time I came, I caught nothing here, even though I had small hooks out for bream. The weather is a northeasterly, which again, that's right with the weather forecast, wasn't forecast. Cloudy, pretty cool, hence the jacket, even in the month of June. The waves there pounding in, which is not a bad thing. I think the water clarity is good. So basically I'm going to have a walk down the beach. I've backed my drags off, by the way, here, guys. I have backed my drags off just in case something comes. And just have a quick word with Tony, who's just fishing down there. So, look, my rods are back there, guys. It's a bit of a gamble because as dusk comes, they tell me smooth hounds move in. And obviously, they can crank off with the bait big time. And they told me they nearly lost rods, and people have lost rods. You're going to see how far young Tony over there is casting out. He's got a big weight on. I've just seen the area. I fished here before, look. I mean, it's exactly where I came, but it's like, I'm not joking, I was no more than 5 or 6 groins out from what allegedly is a good spot. So you can see over there, they got all the commercial boats there, and they do sort of crabs and shellfish and whatever else you want. You can get your fresh seafood here. Fresh seafood, you got to laugh, haven't you? We need some fresh seafood. Got nets, pots, processing plant. And now we'll get over here, and hopefully it's not too windy for you guys. I'm going to try and keep it sheltered as much as I can.
There you go, Graeme, first chuck, and unfortunately we have a doggy. But
that'd be fortunately for me.
That's a good start. It shows they're there. Just simple using an up and over rig base. It's a bit tangled there at the moment.
So you've had a look for bass and you don't fancy the chances on that? Conditions not right?
Not for spinning. You can see by the colour of the water. I see a couple of fish in here about 3 days ago when it was dead flat.
Oh, really?
They look perfect, absolutely perfect, and one really big swell.
This is bass you're talking about?
Yeah. But with that swell there, they're probably there. They're almost certainly there.
Yeah.
If we catch any pout later, they'll be straight on.
Yeah. And basically target species, we're going to be looking for what? Smooth hounds and ray, various species of rays.
It's mainly rays here. Undulates, chance of a blonde, chance of a spotted ray, and the hounds, they do run through here, but not as much as they do on the other beach.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm sure we'll get 1 or 2.
Oh, fingers crossed then, yeah.
It's probably have to wait till dark, but you never know, we might get 1 or 2 in daylight.
Okay. I'm just walking back and I can see, you can see up here, just out of interest, this is, guys, hopefully you can see, this is where the boats launch, I guess. And you can steer over here, because I remember fishing with Tony down at Eastbourne with Norman Kirrage, and they used to launch off the beaches there. There's the old winches, so like a steam winch for bringing the boats back up, and they run them straight up the beach here, or in this case they run them down, and I imagine that's what these metal bars are for, just there to run over the keels. See that? So the metal keel band slides easily to push it in the water, because these are, well, it's a glass clinker one, clinker design I guess. And then they run them down here. And then instead of the drop there, they've got a big steel plate and some big like gas pipes there, which you can see that they can move around for sliding the boat on. So that's quite interesting. But not today. Same thing down this end, guys. Winches up over the back there, and the boats come down. I think they call them trews, and they build them down the slip here, down over the sleepers there, and down into the water. Of course, there are some boats over there that are wet moored permanently. You've got to watch those mooring buoys out there when you're casting. I don't expect I'll reach them, and certainly won't with wind in my face, but there might be the odd pot buoy, a bit of rope that's about as well. Now I can even see already, look at these rods are cranked over, guys. There's a lot of tide, and as Tony said, we're going to get a pull of tide till we get high water about 4, and that'll go slack. But the rod tops aren't banging and a thumping, so I'm going to go down and see. The other guy's name, by the way, is Elvis. That's right. He's not dead, he's very much alive. He's not playing the guitar anymore, but he is playing the fishing rod. Let's go down and see what Elvis has to say about a huge catch he had last night. And wait for this. He said I started 12 o'clock. So I thought, oh, 2:30, he's had a lot of fish in 2 hours. No, 12 o'clock last night. So he's been out here all night, 15 or 16 hours, and he's going to fish with us the rest of the day. I thought I was the one that was mad. Let's go and check Elvis out before the fish come. We hope.
I just caught that.
He's Elvis, isn't it? He's not.
No. That's what they call me at the tack shop.
His name is not Elvis, by the way. it was a total wind-up. The sons of bitches said, no, it's definitely his name, Elvis. they call you that in the tackle shop. That's your nickname.
At the tackle shop.
And it's Dave. It's Dave.
Yeah, my name's Dave.
So Dave, you had a good go last night, but what's that you got there?
A little wrasse. I've just caught it, but it looks like it's been attacked by a squid or a cuttlefish on the way in.
Really? Big chunk out, hasn't it?
Taken a big chunk out of it. Rod went right over as I was reeling it in.
And you thought, oh really, it's still on the way in?
Yeah.
And what bait did you get that on? Is it like a worm or squid?
That was on ragworm. Do you want to show you a ragworm?
That's interesting to show people.
Monsters.
Oh, big rag, yeah?
Yeah, big king rag.
Now you have to buy these, or do you dig around here yourself?
I dug them myself.
You dug them yourself?
Yesterday.
They're stranglers, those things, aren't they? Look at those. You don't need a hook with those. So now tell us what you had last night.
Started off at 12 o'clock. First hour was very slow. 2 hours before high tide, had 2 smooth hounds.
Yeah. What sort of size were they?
One was £6, one was 7.
That's good, yeah.
Both at the same time.
Oh, it's interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, hour later I had an undulate ray of £11.
Good fish then, yeah.
And then it went quiet for over high tide, it got weedy.
Yes.
And then after high tide I started catching some bream.
On small hooks, yeah?
On size 2s.
Yes, yes.
Just using rag.
Just rag on it, so you don't
Just
tip
ragworm.
it with anything like that?
No, that was just ragworm on its own.
Okay. When it's weedy like that, do you wind in and just not, because you're local, you know, do you not fish, or do you still chance it, maybe have less rods out or something?
I chance it, and I normally fish a little bit closer.
Yes. Yeah. So
that you don't cast a long way past the end of the groins.
Yeah, yeah, you go. Now when it gets dark, those rays and that, will they come in close?
Easy casting distance.
So you think 80 yards or something like that?
50, 60.
Really?
Yeah.
And when you fish here, how many years you've been coming here fishing, you know?
I've been coming down here a long time, years-wise. Then I stopped fishing for a while, and then I got back into it 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Just wanted to get more into what I was doing as a young lad, really.
Get back into the system, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually huddled down behind the breakwater at the moment because the wind is whistling a bit. I don't know what it is, probably about force 4. Forgot to bring my beach shelter. I think Tony hasn't got a beach shelter either. Dave and Tony have. Or Dave, who they call Elvis. They really wound me up with that one, didn't they? I bet his mates will have a laugh. Anyway, I've had a wind in, I've got a weed on both, so I've dropped them both short now, rebaited again, dropped them both short. And that's what Tony said, keep them in short, you know, once you get weed and the low tide, just start bringing it in. You're out on the tide if you can come in closer. But hang on, there's something over here on the breakwater that's caught my eye. A bit like a magpie, you know, that sees bright things. Just over there, I think somebody's lost their gear. It's not me, because I only just got here. And there we go. My goodness me, I would be made up if there was a lead on it, but there's not. I think there's not. I'm not sure there's not 2 rigs there, people. Can you see those? Plenty of beads there anyway. So a result for me, no fish yet, but looks like a rig or 2. Oh, can't be bad. that one in the box, baby. I'm going to stand this way, guys, because it's howling and I'm trying to keep the microphone sheltered here. Tony came down. I'm going to call him local Tony came down and said he's getting some bream bites up there on his bigger baits, but you know, I've had nothing as yet. Elvis down the end, or Dave, aka Elvis, he just told me not only did he fish 12 o'clock last night and it's now 3:15 the following day. I said, where did you get the big rag, Graeme? I got up at 7 in the morning to dig them. So he must have been up 5 o'clock that morning, worked through the day, fished through the night, fished through the next day with us. I don't know whether he goes home or not at all, or whether he just lives on the beach. The fingers crossed he stays, because he might be the one that gets us to fish. Noise over there, guys, is a vintage Spitfire going round. It does trips here. When I'm out in my boat round the other side, he very often does his diving runs there. One day I might even go on it, who knows. I do like the sound of them. I like the sound of a screaming reel at the moment. And wait for this. Local Dave just walked up when he told me about the bream bites. He said, I might have a go for a tote. Oh, how big do they go? He said, well, a guy had a 42 pounder off the end of the beach last week. With all these snags, rocks, ropes, 42 pounds off the beach. I'm telling you, man, I've never seen, you know, I don't think I've seen a, 42 pounders in a boat, yeah. I don't think I've ever filmed something like that. I don't think I've filmed a 20 pounder off the beach. 42 pounds, man alive, there's some fish. Actually, while it's a little bit quiet, it's coming up towards high water, I might just spin down and get a take on local Dave's rig for you to see what he's using. So what size hook you got today? What are you going to be putting that on?
I normally use a 2.0 or 3.0.
And you got what, pulley panel there?
This one's a drop down pulley. So that works by the bottom hook hooking on the impact lead.
Yeah.
And then you've got a bait clip there.
Yes.
With the upturned.
Yes.
And then you've got what normally is the pulley part.
Yes.
With a little swivel at the end.
Yeah.
And it clips onto there.
Oh, I see. Yes, that's different.
And then, well, when it's all together.
When it releases, yeah.
When the weight hits the water and releases, the whole lot falls to the floor.
Oh, it slides down the whole rig and gives you a long trace.
And then you can do that to whatever length you want. And it means that the bait ends up away from the grip lid.
Yeah.
With the tide. That's one of my favourite rigs. And then everyone uses a normal pulley.
That's what I've got on, standard one, yeah.
Yeah. But I like using this because you can change the length so long as you can handle the drop.
Yes, yes.
So you can have that to as long as the drop can be. Down.
It's always difficult to do without having tension on the rod, isn't it?
Yeah. So it then hangs like that.
That's it, they can see that, I think, yeah.
And then when that hits the water and releases the hook, the whole lot falls to the seabed.
Slides down, I've got it, yeah. Oh, well, what do you bait that one up?
Cut, these mackerel are a bit dry now, but cut a slide off as a fillet, and then
do you ever use a baiting needle? Oh, you've got the baiting needle.
Then I use a baiting needle, slide the baiting needle right through, find the elastic if you haven't lost it.
Oh no, forever lost it, dropping mine on the shingle.
And then just wrap that so that it makes a sausage.
It's very good stuff, that bait elastic, isn't it, for, you know, compacting a bait.
I don't know how we managed.
Without years ago, yeah.
Without it years ago, it was just like hook a piece of squid on with two hooks
and
hope it stayed there. And then with the elastic still tied on, I put the bottom hook through first and back on itself.
Yeah, so the point's clear.
So the point is well clear, and then wrap that hook so that it lays flat against the mackerel. And
Very tight bait.
And then I do that bit so that the hook can't move through the bait.
Gotcha.
Snap that off. I don't worry about tying it. It normally stays there on its own. And then the top hook, all I use that for is just to keep another hook point clear, and I try and do it in a different direction to the first one.
So it's opposed. So
Yeah.
it's like opposed.
And it just hangs then. And then when you clip it on, you've got the hook point which is clear, so it goes into the bait on the leg, the bait clip on the lead easily.
Yeah.
And you haven't got to try and fit it in through a little gap or...
Got to fiddle with it. You don't have to fiddle with it.
No, it just clips on nice and easy. And there you've got the one with the bait on it. Oh, sort of. And when it's hanging,
It's all streamlined.
it's nice and streamlined, casts easy. As soon as it hits the water, it's off.
Oh, well, boys. The weed has defeated everybody. I think, yeah, from down the other end, Elvis has gone back to Memphis. So Dave's gone. No bites with the weed. Tony's here getting nothing except weed. I'm going to do something totally different than I've got on here. Got a couple of casts already. Sidewinder, shad. The same rod and reel I was using, a 9-foot spinning rod. I'm just going to have a throw in that tide rip over there while there's a bit of tide. There's a tourist down there. Tourist sitting sunbathing. I'm going to have a spin up here for a little bit. It's got to be worth a try. Just see that tide rip. You can see it if I stand still. Maybe you can see it over where I'm pointing the rod. So in a minute it'll be high water, the tide will be dead, and then any chance of a bass, which is probably zero anyway, is gone. So Dave here is having a rest at the moment with the tide and the weed, and I'm just going to go down that second groin and see if there's anything about. Might be a, who knows, a pollock or a mackerel, garfish. It's just that there's a bit of swirl there, and I figure it's got to be worth a throw. Listen, I've got to lose a lure somewhere, haven't I? It can't all be bad, folks. Look, up there the sun is coming out. Oh, down we go. God, it's nice to be travelling with just one rod, not lugging any gear around. Mind you, where I've got a fish, I feel a booty coming. Just give this a chuck out there. It's going to pull me. It's going to pull me hard to the right. I'm going to walk slightly left and make sure I don't go in the groin. Oh God, I think I just saw a fish bust on the surface. I may be wrong. Pretty sure I saw something on the surface then. Maybe it was my lure. And Tony did say they will come in close. Look, there's even weed on the lure. Is he trying to tell us something? Is he trying to tell us pack up? This is the beach from hell for me. I guess once I come inside of the groins, then the tide will be less. And we're shouting now. Come inside the groin, the tide will be less. I can wind a bit slower, and then run the risk of getting weed, which I have got. Weed on lures, people, is not good. Generally the fish won't take it. Out we go again. I think I'll climb up here and go, getting too old for all this, up around the top, down the other side of the groin. A, keep out the wind, and B, my line is going to go to the right. That's interesting. That looks like an old spider crab shell. Obviously it's been caught commercially. But in a minute these spider crabs are going to molt, and then the hounds will come in, the smooth hounds feeding on, I guess, the leftovers. I'll try down just the back of the tide race there. I'm too lazy to go around that mountain up there. Let's just lean over and drop it down the side. No booty, hopefully. Bit of a lazy way of fishing, but it's one of those afternoons. We're just really waiting for the tide to drop, so we're told. Low tide's better, and darkness to arrive at the same time. I'm keeping my powder dry, as I say. And the old musket ball times where they said, don't just fire your musket balls willy-nilly. Keep your powder dry. Save it, and that's what I'm doing. I'm saving the couple of mackerel I've got, a bit of squid. I'll get alongside that. Get down there.
Okay, Graeme, this is my bait. I've got a sandy underneath that bluey and a big hunk of squid on the end. I've kind of cottoned it all on, and it looks quite appetising, doesn't it?
It looks like it's got an eye there as well.
I wouldn't mind eating it, but whether a ray will, I don't know. But it's a nice compact little bait. I think they like a bigger bait though, from what I can hear.
Bigger than that, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Huge baits, according to Tony over there.
And that's a pulley pennel, 2 hooks, yeah?
It's just a sort of pulley pennel. I think Tony uses a bit more of a flowing rig, but obviously I'm going to go and see him later on.
I think he called it a drop-off or something. I'll find out. I think he called it a drop-off. Is it a longer one?
I got a few ideas off him, because I don't do this a lot as much as Tony does, obviously.
And weight there, impact lead?
Well, I put an 8-ounce lead on because basically there's a lot of tide here, even though you're fishing close in, and once it gets in that weed it won't hold properly, so I've stuck an 8-ounce on there. It's not going to make a lot of difference. It's better that it holds up than it don't, Graeme, you know.
What about rod and reel? What, you multiplier fixed ball?
I've got my new rod today, but it's a new Cinetic one, and it's nice.
15 foot?
Yeah, it's 14 and a half. It's ever so light. It'll probably throw up to a 6 ounce, 6 to 7. I'm throwing an 8, but obviously I'm going to be a bit careful.
Be careful with it, yeah.
If it breaks, it's going back.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
You have to say you shut it in the car door or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I like the bait. I do.
A friend of mine's just bought one off me, believe it or not, and he's broke a bit off the tip, and it was his own fault.
Yeah.
He seems to think it's a better rod now. A bit of the tip broke off.
Oh, a little bit stiffer.
So you know, he thinks it's a little bit stiffer. I personally don't like the quiver tips. I may have to get used to it. If you look up there, it's got a quiver tip built into it.
Yeah.
And basically, I don't like the quiver tips. I like a
bit more rigid.
A rigid tip, yeah, like as on my blue rod, you know. But
and what are you using for reel, Tony? Tell them what tackle on the reel side.
I stick to. A lot of people use Shimano's. I stick to
Diver?
Surf Blast, the Affinities.
That's
the
a pen,
old
is that?
Big Affinities, because you get the spare spools with them. With the new ones, you don't get a spare spool. And I've got about 8 spools in my box here, and it's great. I mean, if this weed gets a bit too strong, I can put some 50-pound braid straight through, you know what I mean? So it gives me a good chance to try different things with it.
Good gear ratio on that for bringing in over snags?
Yeah, it's quite fast. They're pretty fast. You just lift it up and reel like mad, really, but ever so fast, much faster than multipliers.
I've just baited this one up with Graeme, and I'll just explain the rig to you. It's a simple flowing trace, running trace, just clipped up and down. And what I do is I use the Gemini clip there, which, you see that?
Yeah.
Brilliant little clip it is for big baits as well. Just clip it over like that, and then the bottom bit, the Gemini lead, just literally clips in like that. See that? So as soon as that hits the water, Comes off like that. Brilliant for big baits. I don't tend to use them with small baits, but as soon as I go on to, you know, ray baits and big baits like that, then out they come.
And what's your hook size and stuff like that?
On this one I've got a 4.0 on the bottom, it's on a penner with a little 2.0 on the top. Yeah, that's it really. It varies hook sizes. They're big fish, that's a small bait.
So mackerel or bluey, what do you got there?
That's mackerel on here.
Yeah.
When it gets dark, the baits will just get bigger.
Really? Yeah.
To try and ward off the dogs as well. You get so many dogs everywhere. If you put a big bait out there with big hooks, the dogs don't tend to hook themselves straight away, and the ray can sometimes come up and barge them out the way.
Gotcha. Well, I'm in partial shock. A shout from Tony. He's actually got a fish. This is a turn up for the books. I think it's a small bream. We'll take a look at it.
Weed on it.
Weed everywhere, and there he is, a little bream.
The silly rig strikes.
What we call right species, wrong size.
A little bit wrong size. Nice live bait.
That's what's stripping the bait, so isn't it? Chewing on the bait, I imagine, those guys.
Yeah. You see a little bite, didn't you?
Save the blank, that's what it is, mate. Save the blank,
that's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we see it bite, didn't we? Look at that.
Yeah, a little tap on that rod. That's that quiver tip doing that, and seeing the bite.
You can go back and fight another day, eh?
Oh dear God, just had Tony up. We've had a good laugh today, me and Tony, I have to tell you. It's now 9:10 at night. You've got to laugh, haven't you? We must be mad. One of the locals came down and told us, you have no trouble, you're going to catch them in a minute. We're still waiting, we've been waiting all day. The other Tony, local Tony's moved back up here, 2 groins, nothing still. And I've got 2 mackerel baits out there now. Nothing on the small baits. Tony had that tiny little bream up there, so at least he hasn't had a blank. I'm still on the blank. I'm still suffering from the curse of Chelsea. I mean, it's some weird place because I do get some big fish here, but you know what? I just can't get it. I just cannot get it at all. We'll do it off in a minute. It's 9:15. That means both of us, because Tony's got a long way. Tony's got to get back to Eastbourne. I'm going to get back up to where I live up under a rock somewhere in Hampshire. Shouldn't come down and have a laugh. So that's going to be both of us getting home just past midnight. So the thing is, it's okay if you're a local, you can come down here. It's 15 minutes down the road, you pop down, you fish at the right time. But when you've driven 2.25 hours, it's not quite so much fun, is it? Because you've got another 2.25 back, so that means 4.5 hours driving. Can even do my sums. So anyway, I'm going to say thanks for watching the Tony Awesome Fishing Show. Seen a couple of bait rigs here. We all blank. Sooner or later, you will blank. Probably sooner than later. But the main thing is that you enjoy it. And we've been out on the beach, out in the open fresh air, enjoying it, in the company of other anglers, also blanking. I think a couple of doggies up there, that was it, earlier today. But man alive, it's good, there's no weed. Lovely evening now. I don't know what it is, it's just UK fishing. So we'll see you again. Don't forget to watch Mike's TA Outdoors. I'm going to give it 1 hour, by which time it will be dark. I'll probably find the batteries are going to be floodlight, but if I get a fish, or if any of the other lads get a fish here, we'll let you know. We'll see you next time anyway.
He could be on there, couldn't he?
How big's your bait there?
massive. That's why I'm.
Oh, I see, waiting,
That's why
yeah.
I'm sort of waiting because it's a massive bait.
Proper bite though, wasn't it?
Oh bloody hell!
Right on time.
That's the only bite we've had all day.
I know, and
and you've sit up.
I know. Completely, I'm waiting so long.
We've only waited 10 hours.
Oh,
We
stop
might still
there,
be.
stop.
No, it's a good proper pull down bite, wasn't it?
Yeah, I should have just picked it up and hit it.
That's why we're doing mine. Just walk
I
back.
couldn't because it was tangled up on a silly rod, wasn't
It's
it?
in the other one, yeah.
So that's the average size here?
Yeah, £1.6 he is.
It's 1.6.
Yeah. Only the one.
And a smooth hound as well.
Yeah, he was 71 centimetres.
Oh, that's good, yeah. Nice
So-
bream though, nice bream, yeah.
Yeah, happy with that.
That's a good bream, yeah. And what do they run to here?
Well, they're meant to get them to like 2.5 pounds.
Oh, really, really?
I haven't had one that big.
Yeah, wow.
Sometimes they get them bigger than that, but
Yeah, lovely looking fish. Swimming on him there.
nice bit of dinner. He won't be wasted.
Well, after Tony lost that fish, we don't know what it was, a whole squid. Bait was so big I thought it was the Kraken. Guy in the next bay over had a smooth hound and a nice black bream, as you saw. I just had a bite on the left hand rod twice, and I think he's dropped it. I've got it marked down as a conger, maybe a small conger or something like that. Apparently he gets some small strap congers here. So it's down to the 5-minute warning. No, nothing on there, but as good as the day, it was sent out there, guys. I think it's time to pack up. Are you going to save the day for us? Let's get down there. There we go. Thank the Lord. That's why it took us all this time to catch.
Yeah, and both rods going at the same time.
Oh really? Yeah, 2 takes, yeah?
Yeah. Let's go there now, I think. Right.
That's it.
Sand eel.
That was on Sandal Bay, was it?
Yeah.
Was that a combo bait or just straight
No,
sandal?
just straight sand eels, about 3 sand eels. There we go.
See if you can hold him right up and I'll tune the camera down so it's going to be right for you. Thank goodness, eh?
There you go.
That was do, wasn't it?
Both rods going together, Tone.
Will they?
You can, have you packed up?
No.
No,
Oh,
you've still
good.
got bait out, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, good. Over here. All right.
Brilliant, good show. Absolutely. Yeah, nice markings, isn't he?